welcome to my channel. In today's interview, I chat with Elle Roberts. We discuss her journey from a single mum to business owner, what she's doing now, what motivates her, how there is no one way to do business, and so much more. Make sure to subscribe. So today I'm talking to Elle Roberts all the way from Australia. So awesome to have her here today, well, in the studio. So Elle, tell us a little bit about you and what it is that you do.
All right, no worries. Well, thank you so much for having me. So my name's Elle Roberts, and I've been working for myself in some form or another for about 10 years now, just over 10 years. And at the moment, I run two businesses. So I run Rare Seed Agency, and we do online business management for our clients. So what we actually do ranges right from social media management, file maintenance, admin, inbox management, through to looking after people's launches and supporting on more of a project level.
Yeah.
And then the second business is how we know each other, Jenny, through the Artful business events. And we, pre-COVID days, ran a biannual conference, which is just a 2-day conference focused on creative business education and inspiration, particularly for values-driven creative businesses, and honestly particularly focused at women in business. And we also run retreats and other smaller workshops and events, throughout the gap between those two big events. Not sure what that looks like over the next 12 months, but we'll just play that by ear.
Yeah, so you've got lots happening with your business at the moment by the sounds of it.
Yeah, definitely keeps me out of trouble and very busy, but I love it.
So how did you originally get started doing all of what you do?
Yeah, well, I was a single mum at the time, and I was due to my financial situation, I had to go back to work quite quickly after my son was born, and that didn't work well for us. And that became apparent quite quickly. He was in full-time care at about 8 months old, and he did not like that. So we found another way, really. And at the same time, I was rediscovering my creative side and falling in love with sewing and making and crochet and all of those beautiful things that I had never really. I had a mum who was into all of that, and I had basic knowledge of a lot of it, but I'd never been particularly interested in it. And then I just sort of went down the rabbit hole of all of those things. So I actually started a business making kids' clothes and quilts and some crochet items. And then just that quickly just merged from one thing to another. And my business has probably had 7 iterations over time to bring me to what I'm doing today.
Right, so yeah, that sounds a familiar journey.
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
Yeah, well, the sewing part of it anyway, for me, that's how I kind of started out.
Yep.
Yeah, so what have you found to be the biggest motivator with regards to your business?
I don't like to say freedom, because I think running a business is not, certainly for me, is not, cocktails on a beach somewhere with my laptop on my lap. It's been much harder than that story of like the freedom entrepreneur sort of thing. But I think it is a version of freedom. And for me, that's definitely being able to dictate how much I focus on my business and how much I focus on my family. And that's changed over time. I was a single mum for a long time, and then I was a partnered mum with one young child And then I was a mum of newborn twins. And so the amount of time and energy I've had for my business has changed a lot over the time. And I really am so grateful to feel so in control of all of that and to be able to lean right into my business when it suits my lifestyle. And at the moment, I'm the solo income earner for our family. So I am all the way leaned into the business. But there are other times, where I've taken 6 months break, or I've taken 12 months of doing, very little in the business to keep it ticking along. But my focus has been the kids and the family. And just being able to be in control of that and dictate that for myself is absolutely the biggest motivator for me.
Right. So is that something that you would recommend to somebody wanting to start their own business? The kind of choices that they can make, that they can, maybe provide for their family if they have to, like you do currently?
Yeah. And I think it's, I was in corporate and I was in hospitality, and juggling that as a single mum, really didn't work very quickly. And it just highlighted to me, you don't have to be a single mum. You don't even have to be a woman, but I think it's particularly these issues do come up for women around, they feel so often they have to make a choice between pursuing their career or focusing on the family. And for me, running a business means that I can do both. I just don't necessarily do them in the same moment. And I don't feel like I'm putting my career on hold when I take more time for the family. I just know I'm slowing things down for a little while so that I can give energy somewhere else. But then I can turn the notch back up whenever I'm ready. And that's really empowering. And I think I personally have been really surprised at how much of a sustainable and profitable career I can build for myself while, juggling that family balance in a way that I didn't see possible in the corporate space.
Right. So did you sort of have any body that was giving you advice, or is it just you've come up with that kind of, your business ideas and stuff yourself, or?
It's definitely a bit of both. And there's not been one person. I think, one of my biggest pieces of advice is to like lean into communities of people who think the same way and have an entrepreneurial mindset. I certainly was growing a business in the beginning that was not in any way profitable or sustainable because of the way that I was pricing things or the way that I was, spending my time.
Yeah.
And I have done a lot of learning, and some of that's been reading books and Googling, but a lot of that's been through conversations with other business owners. And there's definitely been some standout people along the way who have taught me things and inspired me to take things to another level that I didn't necessarily think was possible on my own.
So do you think if there's some people out there wanting to start their own business, do you think that they need to sort of go down the road of finding somebody to help them out, or do they need to have it like a business plan, or do they just start, or what do you think is the best?
I think that's a hard question to answer because everyone's different. I am absolutely a believer in just start, jump off the cliff and build the parachute on your way down. Yeah. But that doesn't work for everybody. And I think what's exciting about building your own business is you can absolutely do it by your own design. So for some people, that will mean jumping all in and giving it their best shot from the get-go. For others, that will be testing the waters, dipping their toe in and trying a few ideas with minimal risk to see if their idea floats, sort of thing. And there's no right or wrong answer to that. Definitely getting support and help can fast track the progress of your business, but it doesn't mean that it needs to happen in the beginning. And different people again need different things. So finding the right Facebook group, or finding a community of people in your local area who are running business, and just being around people. I'm actually mentoring a local lady at the moment who's starting a business, and she just wants to be able to hear that it's possible. So she comes along to coffee dates with other business owners, and she's just sort of playing around on Instagram, and she's looking at logo ideas. She's a long way from actually offering services to anyone, but she's just putting herself in a position to have conversations and to be inspired. And I think that's a really good option for a lot of people.
Yeah, because often that's the first step, isn't it? Realizing that, yes, your idea for a business might have traction, might have, wins and whatever. So,
and I'm very lucky. A lot of my family are small business owners, and a lot of like my peer group in terms of my friends, not so much, but a lot of the people that I know through networks and things are in business and believe in the value and the power of entrepreneurship and small business. But I know that's not true for everybody. And certainly when I first made the move, most of my social group were in the corporate space and they just thought I was crazy. So I think a lot of people will find themselves where their partner might not be supportive or understand what's possible for the business idea. Certainly my partner has no concept of what I do in terms of the online world because he just is not in any way connected to it. I'm lucky that he's still incredibly supportive, but I know lots of people who don't understand the work that you want to do, whether that be in the online space or in the creative industries. They don't believe that people will pay for that because it doesn't make sense to them. So it can be hard to find support. It can be hard to have conversations with people. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's so true. So just tell us a little bit more about your conference, because I'm sure people would like to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, the Artful Business Conference at this stage is next planned to happen in Perth in May 2021. As I said, it's a 2-day conference that's all about business education. We talk about money, we talk about marketing, all the things that we need to know to improve our small businesses. Yeah. But we do it with this overarching value of, you get to build your business by design. There's great advice to be had and there's best practice, but your business ultimately has to align with your values and with your lifestyle. It has to serve you in a way that allows you to show up in your life in a way that, works for you. And I think that doesn't mean that it won't be successful. Sometimes it means it'll take a bit longer, or sometimes it means you need to think outside of the box in terms of how you then make it profitable or successful. But that's the real mindset behind the Artful Business Conference is there's not one way to do business. It can be really built by design and to suit you and to serve you.
Yeah, sounds great. I've already got my ticket for next year, so fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
So do you have any other advice that you could offer to a small business owner or somebody thinking about starting a business?
Yeah, it would definitely be to just trust yourself and to start. But as I said, open yourself up to what's possible. And that might mean finding people to talk about. It might mean reading books. It might mean just getting on Google and looking at what's happening in the small business space in New Zealand or in Australia, despite, the challenges that many small businesses have in fact faced this year in particular. Because even, when I began my business and it was successful for me for what I needed it to do at the time, 10 years ago, that meant bringing in about $85 a week. I would not have thought then that I could grow my business to mean that I could be the solo income earner of a family of 5, and, live in the beautiful house that we live in and be providing for my family in that way. So you just don't know what's possible for you without opening yourself up to that. And I would encourage anyone who's either starting out or thinking about starting out to just allow yourself to dream and to see what other people are up to and what amazing things are happening in small business, because it is exciting. And I really do believe that it can open the door to a lifestyle that we didn't know was possible in terms of combining work and life.
Right. So if somebody was wanting to find you, where's the best place to look?
Definitely my favorite place to hang out is on Instagram. So you can find me at Rare Seed Agency or at Artful Biz Events.
Great. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for talking to me. It's been wonderful.
It's great, and lots of great advice there too. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.